Well, we're live again.
We are indeed back on Facebook and YouTube and where else?
And Facebook, two Facebooks and a YouTube.
Okay. Actually, let's start with a really good question. Where are you, Keith?
This week, I am actually at the Langham Hotel in Boston, which is absolutely a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful hotel for events. I'm actually really digging it. It's kind of fancy, but it's kind of low key fancy, I guess, if you will. So it's an awesome place. But getting here was the challenge. For anyone who has attendees that are flying, that have to go through an airport, it is not fun lately. Yesterday at O'Hare, I think we were out on the tarmac for an hour.
How warm was it?
That one was just back up with traffic, but then bags are delayed coming out. In Terminal 1 at O'Hare, at the C gates, which are the far out gates where that's most everything is leaving from the B or C gates. But at the C gates, all of the Hudson News little shacks were all closed. The one that was opened at one far end had like two dusty Cokes and a crappy little bottle of water. Like they don't have any stock. It is traveling right now is just kind of weird.
I can imagine. How warm was the weather? Because standing on tarmac must have increased that by
Well,
a dramatic event.
Probably, but fortunately, I was in a little silver tube with wings that kept the air at a nice, comfortable.
Good. You're actually on the plane.
Yes, actually on the plane. But they get an on-time departure because they pull back from the gate.
Oh,
so you pull back from the gate and then you end up sitting there.
Yeah. Well, as long as they keep serving while you're waiting, that's probably not so bad.
Which I think goes to meetings and events, right? I think that event planners need to be cognizant of this, and sometimes letting staff come in the day before an event, attendees, not penalizing them for coming in. If they want to come in the day before, because there are plenty of people that are getting to airports. I was just in the UK. We were just together in the UK, and Heathrow is having all kinds of problems. So it's better in that case to just let the attendees have the peace of mind and let staff have the peace of mind that they're going to get somewhere before it starts. Just things that we all need to think about nowadays.
Well, if you're actually using a proper business travel management platform, a lot of the wiggle room that you need can be built into the travel plans. So it's worth contemplating something like that.
Yeah. So what's next? We're going to hit a few news things. We're not going to be on here forever today, because I guess we should be telling people that these little weekly things that we're doing are in the lead up to something else that we've got coming down the pike, if you will. But
yes.
Let's talk.
But there is something particular that's been happening since February, really, and in particular, it's been brought to focus in the last few days. I've been looking at the popular posts that are being read and voted on Event Planner News. Number 3 is Hopin lays off 29% of staff, and they're not the only ones who've done that.
No, I think Hublot has lopped off 12% of their staff. Bizaboo had a pretty steep.
30%.
How many? How much?
30% reduction in the staffing levels. But don't forget, Hopin, this is the second time round.
Yeah.
The original was back in February, 12%.
Yeah, and it was really funny because you and I were talking about it a little bit earlier, and I said, this isn't an end of COVID problem or an event tech problem, or that people don't want to do virtual events. We're still doing plenty of virtual events as well as in-person events now. But I think what happened is all of these tech companies saw the COVID wave, right, to the push to virtual. Yes. And they thought it wasn't going to end.
Well, at least they thought if it did come to an end, that people will still be thinking, isn't virtual events the way to go? This is fabulous. We'll keep on doing this regardless. And of course, everybody wanted to get back to face-to-face.
Yeah, but demand is high, still high. I don't know how they didn't see it coming. I just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, for example, Hopin, they bought StreamYard, and that brought in
Yep.
40% of revenues. So if that 40% disappears because people, it's not exactly we don't want to do virtual events anymore. It's a case of there's a demand for face to face. So what
Yes.
are you going to do? So if your business is over reliant on your platform, of course you're going to suffer.
Well, and then I guess Happen made some to me were unusual moves. They bought Attendify, which scared the heck out of me because all of my clients, all my small and medium sized association clients used Attendify as for their mobile event app, right? For Happen, that was solid revenue, right? All of my clients for years have just been doing that. That's
Yeah,
what they use. Well, they threw Attendify into the dustbin. So now all my clients are out scrambling to find a new event app. But that's I what happened? Did they incorporate the Attendify tech into their stack? I don't know what the hell they were
well,
thinking with that.
see, the thing is, with it comes to acquisitions, there are two reasons. One, you buy it for the tech, or you buy it for the staff and what they're capable of doing. So it could be a case they thought, well, there's a bunch of talented people, we'll have those, and then the actual the Attendify platform just disappears.
Well, yeah, and then they bought Boomset too, right? So obviously they were thinking about in-person events because Boomset allows you for badge printing and registration and a whole bunch of other things that
Yeah,
that Boomset check in. But what's going on with that? What are they doing with that? I got it. I sit and I try and figure it out in my brain, and it doesn't work.
yeah, yeah. I mean, either you dive. I mean, think either the platform evolves into something bigger, and I like to use VII events as an example. We've talked to Staz, the co-founder, many times on the bullet list. But their platform has gone from being just an event platform to a complete 3D immersive thing, which should see them through a little bit further. Other platforms, they've just stayed the same, hoping, crossing their fingers and putting the blindfolds on, hoping that this is going to be fine. Honestly, it will be.
Well, I think the other thing, like, and again, we've had Stas on the podcast a couple of times, is they're also more realistic about what's happening, right?
Mm.
They don't see this as all, cake and gravy. Going forward, they understand that there's going to be a pushback to face, that virtual events and hybrid events, are going to look different. And so I think that when these things take their natural turns, they're ready for it.
Yeah.
Whereas some of these other companies, I mean, just they went nuts.
It's interesting that these three, Hopin, Bizzabo, and Hubelo, have gone for the staff reductions. I know that other companies are freezing sponsorship things that they do. They may be freezing or at least reducing amount on advertising. So maybe they're the ones who are going to weather the storm better by not getting rid of all the staff that actually made the thing happen in the first place.
Yeah, see, but now you're getting into that trickle on effect, right? That if all of a sudden these companies that had put money into shows for sponsorship and exhibiting and things like that, if all of a sudden that's drying up, what's going to happen, to those shows, right? Those shows aren't going to have that additional revenue.
Yeah. It's just going to trickle down. But there's always that possibility that all these redundant people from these event tech platforms are going to group together and go, we'll show them, we'll do our own platform and come up with something even better. That'll be fun.
Well, that's what keeps us in business.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's very sad news, and I feel for the people who have been laid off, and I
Yes,
really hope
I
that
do.
they all get onto new pastures and new exciting things to do.
Well, to put it in, I don't know, for organizations out there that are looking for good talent, there's now good talent out there. For those people that were working for these companies, I'm sure that there's a handful of them that have the next great idea, are they able to capitalize on this? Because
Yeah.
I know that some of, yes, it's very difficult when all of a sudden you have no income coming in, but a lot of these companies are giving 3 months severance. That buys you 30 days to, while you're looking for that
Yeah.
next thing, to try and
Absolutely.
push out what you have.
And
That next great idea.
then the other thing is, it's not as though these people have been laid off because they've done something awful or because they didn't meet the standards of the company. The company is shrinking, so these people going to have good reputations, and if they
Oh,
do
sure.
want to start their own thing, there's going to be people out there thinking, "Yeah, let's do it. Let's see what these people can do."
Oh, I look at, the only group that there's a few of tech companies on the developer side that I actually interacted with or I have interacted with, and they're all top notch. I mean, smart, able individuals that are going to be an asset to any group they join.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's, they can't help it if the people that run the companies and own the companies, you know, didn't see a storm on the horizon that had been predicted for months.
Yeah, yeah. Should we move to something a little bit more happier, interesting?
Freaking happy.
Well, I don't know if it's happy, but it's interesting news nonetheless.
No, I
Um,
actually think this one. I do think that this is a good thing, though. This is going to bring us to a close on a high note. So I'll let
yeah.
you go ahead.
All right. So Instagram always seem to be innovating one way or another, even if it does mean you've got more adverts in your feed. They are now opening up video to outside systems, outside broadcasting, so you can broadcast from your desktop or
Yes.
stream
So,
from your
st-
desktop, I should say.
yeah. So for anyone out there that is producing, virtual or hybrid events, you can now go to Insta via StreamYard. I think you can go in OBS. There will be more things added as we go along. We're currently on a platform called Restream. I'm sure Restream is already working with them to be able to go to Instagram, and I do think that's a good thing.
It should be rather exciting because a lot of wedding planners, in particular, some venues, planners in general, I'm not so sure about, but definitely wedding planners and venues and some events themselves have very popular Instagram accounts. So
Mhm.
if they're gonna, like a wedding planner, if they want to stream like the before, during, and after of something they've done with permission of the people getting wedded, obviously,
Yeah,
they they can just do stuff much more than they could do before.
yeah, and it's going to be, I mean, it will depend on the event, obviously. The pharmaceutical events that we do, no, Instagram is probably not the right place for it.
Well, no, it's obviously
But
it's the right event for the right platform, and
yeah, but
it's going to be
but
interesting.
a lot of the associations that we work with, they do have, pretty decent Instagram followings, right? And that's a way for them to engage with younger members and get video out in front of younger members. So I think it's great. Insta, 100% honesty is not my favorite platform,
So,
but it's cool.
the thing is, doesn't so if you're doing an Instagram video, does Reels still exist? I'm not an Instagram user. I don't know this
Yes.
stuff. Who knows? But that's got a time limit, right? So you can only upload a few minutes worth of video, or there is a timing limit on it. If you're streaming from your desktop into your Instagram account, then I take it there is no time limit. So if you want to stream for an hour, you're more than capable of doing so.
Yeah, I think you can. We should probably find that out and put that in the show notes. Um,
Or if anybody wants to leave a comment and just say, "No, you idiots, it's still limited," you know, get to grips.
Yeah, it's just it's not my gig,
Although
man.
it's
It's like
something I've always thought, yeah, I must use it, and then I don't know what for.
there's a great picture of me out there somewhere that's got me in Snapchat. The Snap glasses for
Oh yeah,
Snapchat. Yeah, I've never had a Snapchat account. It's not my thing.
yeah, it's that sort of thing. It just doesn't seem to apply to the things. Well, not only do I get up to, but I think both of us. I mean, who knows? One day this will be not just on YouTube and a couple of Facebook pages, but maybe we'll do it simultaneously to Instagram. That'd be fun.
Yep. If we can, we can. But hey, that brings us. We're 15 minutes in. So
15 and yeah, spot on 15.
exactly.
Okay, I think we're done.
So I do. I think that we're done. I think we're going to wrap up. That was a good way to wrap up anyway. Not all the doom and gloom. There is good stuff going on out there. And I
Absolutely.
think we're going to be back here next Tuesday. Still getting ready for what we have coming up next. And each week, I think what we'll try to do is we're going to be layering in new things. So, for example, because I'm at the Langham Hotel, my initial thought was to use this as the webcam for today, but I could not get my sorry butt out of bed. So here we are. But we'll try layering those types of
Yeah.
things in, and telling everybody as we're doing it what we're doing.
Sounds like a plan. So according to my calendar, the 19th of July is the next episode of. Well, we're
The
going to call it
bullet.
Facebook Live, but considering that we could do it in all sorts of other different places,
It's the
I don't know.
Bullet List Live.
Right, the Bullet List Live. Unless somebody can come up with a better idea for the title.
I got nothing.
No. I'll leave a comment somewhere, folks.
All right. Anyway, Bob, it's been a pleasure. As most people know, I will be talking to you again in about 30 seconds once we end the broadcast.
Yes. And then we can talk about all the things that we did wrong.
There you go. All right, everybody.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Take care.